The arrival of the 2026 BMW M5 Touring has had us salivating in our Cheerios. After all, this is the first time BMW has offered the M5 wagon for sale in the US. Still, one aspect of the Superwagon has loomed in the back of our minds like an uninvited guest: the car's 5,500-pound curb weight. We know 700-plus horsepower, electric boost, and big tires can do a lot to offset mass. We witnessed that firsthand during our first drive of the M5 on German autobahns, but we still wanted to subject it to the cruel objectivity of our test gear and a run on our favorite roads. We think the 2025 BMW M5 Touring was worth the wait, but is it worth the wait? We'll keep our introduction short, because really, how much introduction is needed? This is the long-roof M5, launched as a response to the success of Audi's RS6 Avant. Like the M5 sedan, the Touring is a plug-in hybrid, with a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 assisted by an electric motor integrated into the transmission. Together, they deliver peaks of 717 horsepower and 738 lb-ft to all four wheels. Both sedan and wagon do many fancy computerized things, like give the driver the option to send all power to the rear axle or cruise 25 miles at up to 87 miles per hour on battery propulsion alone. Still, we must talk about the elephant in the room. BMW claims a weight of 5,530 pounds for the M5 Touring, 140 pounds heavier than the sedan, though our scales showed the wagon to be a tad lighter than BMW claims, 5,456 pounds with a full tank of fuel and an empty cabin. When you consider the fact the 2022 BMW M5 sedan weighed about 4,100 pounds, that's, like, heavy, man. Even the 4,902-pound Audi Avant RS6 performance is trim compared to the Bimmer. Lotus founder Colin Chapman famously said that more power makes you faster in the straights, while less weight makes you faster everywhere. Well, quick on the straights is not the M5 Touring's issue. We timed it to 60 miles per hour in an EV like 3.2 seconds by setting all the programmable parameters to Sport Plus, the all-wheel drive system to 4WD Sport mode, and launch control engaged. And what an exciting launch it was! With a jolt of electric power assisting the engine, the M5 Touring threatened to squish us right into the seat upholstery as all four tires scrabbled for grip, a harbinger of problems to come. Our only complaint was the overly harsh gear changes. The M5 CF 8-speed grabs gears like an old THM 400 with a $25 Pep Boys shift kit. What about acceleration with rear-wheel drive engaged? Yep, we tried it, gleefully anticipating the conversion of the Hankook Ventus S1 Evo 2 tires to barbecue sauce. Unfortunately, BMW foresaw this temptation, and the M5 won't launch in rear-drive mode, at least not without traction control exerting its heavy hand. We took the hint and did not attempt any extreme measures to provoke a rubber roast. If you want to be off like the proverbial shot, 4WD Sport is the mode to use. The M5 Touring's 3.2 second 0 to 60 run is an impressive number for a gasoline-fueled car, as is its quarter-mile time of 11.2 seconds at 126.1 miles per hour, or at least it is until old man perspective pops his head into frame and we compare the new M5 to the previous generation car. The 2022 M5 sedan has 627 horsepower, 553 lb-ft, no hybrid assistance, and Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, and it was quicker to 60 by 0.6 of a second, and faster through the quarter mile by half a second and 3.6 miles per hour. Mind you, out on the open road, the new M5 Touring wagon goes like it has rocket boosters, with the electric motor ensuring you get the same wallop regardless of starting speed. It's a way more dramatic performance than the old Gen M5, but it's still slower than the old car, and if $125,000, $141,000 for our test car as equipped, doesn't buy you absolute bragging rights, what's the point? Onward, then, to the braking test, where the 2025 BMW M5 Touring dropped from 60 to 0 in 105 feet with the slightest bit of squirm only in the hardest of stops. Respectable until you look up the 2022 numbers and discover the older, lighter M5 needed just 101 feet. We suspected the new M5 Touring's bulk would cause the biggest problems in the turns, and we were right. If you push the M5 Touring hard on smoothly paved public roads, as we did in our first drive, it feels heroic, with lovely, quick, scalpel-sharp steering and what feels like grip that will never end. But what do the numbers, and the bumps, tell us? On the test track, the 2025 M5 Touring circled the skid pad at 0.95 G, down from 1.04 G in the 2022 M5 sedan with Michelin Pilot Sport tires and 1.07 in another 22 M5 that had much better Pirelli P0 Corsa tires. The 2025 M5 Touring circled our figure-8 handling test in 23.8 seconds at an average of 0.88 G, 0.6 seconds slower than the Pilot Sport shod 22 M5 and 0.5 slower than the one with Pirelli's. The bigger problem, though, was the way the M5 Touring's mass gave way to inertia. This is a car that loves to break loose and slide. Fun? Not if you're trying to measure handling. Carrying even a slight amount of excess speed into the corners caused the M5 to understeer and plow its front end, while trail braking brought the back end out sharply, as did anything but the most delicate application of throttle on corner exit. The best way to get the M5 Touring pointed back the way it came was to do all our braking in a straight line before turning in. That's a good technique, to be sure, but we find that in more playful cars we can often get around the track quicker by bending the rules a little. It'd be easy to blame the hang-cooked tires, which bite into the pavement reluctantly as if the road is an empanada with its filling heated to incandescence. To be fair, we experienced similar behavior in the 22 M5 with the Michelin Pilot Sports. The car was much better behaved with the Pirelli Corsas. But the more work a tire must do, the more likely it is to misbehave, and almost 3 tons of Wagon is a lot to ask of any tire. We rarely run into these sorts of issues when testing a Miata. Out on the twisty roads of Malibu, the 2025 BMW M5 Touring's excessive weight exhibited itself in other not pleasant ways. Again, acceleration felt explosive, and grip felt endless, though a purposely sloppy jerk of the wheel reminded us understeer was never too far away. No, the problem was that the suspension's dampers simply could not control the up and down motion of all the weight. We know these Malibu Canyon roads well, but this was the first time we'd driven this route since the Palisades fire swept through and introduced some new contouring into the asphalt. There are a few mid-corner bumps we purposely aimed for, but a sharp new one took us by surprise. It set the M5 Touring's rear end bouncing like a pogo stick, and for one bowel evacuating fraction of a second, we thought the rear tires were going to lose contact with the ground altogether. Once our heart resumed its normal rhythm, we tried it again with the suspension set to its sportiest setting. While the bouncing motion was reduced, the rear end still acted like it wanted to skip off into the bushes. A BMW M5 should never have you thinking of an old live-axle Ford Mustang, but we sure did. Nor was this one problem only evident on one bump. As we blasted through the curves trying out the various suspension modes, we sailed through a couple of broad, choppy sweepers with the tires going chirp, chirp, chirp as they lost and gained grip. We realized quickly that if drivers are to do any sort of serious twisty road driving in the M5, they must set the suspension to its stiffest mode as a purely precautionary measure. But the M5 Touring's ride is already stiff and busy, and firming it up further doesn't do your vertebrae any favors. As for the ride quality, leaving the M5 Touring on its softest settings didn't really help. While the comfort setting takes the edge out of the bumps, the constant vertical motion can induce motion sickness even in those who don't regularly suffer from it. Setting the suspension to its middle, sport, setting seemed to be the best compromise, evening out the ride without making it too rough. We went so far as to program an M preset button so we could quickly change from comfort to sport any time we were off the glass-smooth freeway. We cast our mind back to that initial Autobahn cruise, and really, that's where the M5 Touring is at its best. It's a straight-line rocket ship, confident in curves if the pavement doesn't undulate too badly, and it's sure-footed provided you don't get too close to its grip limits. The adaptive cruise control and lane centering systems work nicely, the stereo sounds phenomenal, and the biggest challenge you face while driving the M5 Touring is not losing your patience with folks, often in other BMWs, who refuse to relinquish the lane. With the hybrid powertrain's immediate response and immense power, A 2-second zots of the accelerator pedal puts you well into expensive ticket territory. So it looks like our initial expectations were correct. The 2025 BMW M5 Touring is a hell of a car, but it's just so damn heavy. PHEV powertrain notwithstanding, there is no reason a gasoline-powered midsize performance car should weigh nearly 3 tons, even if it's a wagon. There's nothing BMW could add to the M5 Touring to make it any better. Instead, the engineers need to start taking away, to the tune of about 1,500 pounds.